and you can't deny what you've experienced. And I just couldn't.
All right, so now how long between that and the bologna sandwich we're going to talk
The
about?
bologna sandwich. It's really funny because shortly after that, as I said earlier, I really did. I gave my life over to the Lord. I was like, you lead me again. But I still had my dad's face in front of me. And I couldn't, when I would think of God, I'd see this angry father. And I didn't know how to process and deal with that. So I just said one day, Lord, I want to see you with a smiling face. Help me. Help me see what you're really like and not use my dad as a grid. And so it literally was just about a year and a half later. And I lived across the street from where I worked. I went home every day for lunch, and every day I had a bologna sandwich on white bread with mayonnaise. Every day. Standing there in my living room, eating a bologna sandwich, and I closed my eyes for a minute because I had some music on in the background, and I was just kind of going like this. And then suddenly I feel a breeze. I open my eyes. I'm on a hillside. And my bologna sandwich is gone. I'm still in my lunch hour. My watch says it's the time it's supposed to say. And I'm thinking, what the heck am I doing on a hillside? And all these people are around, and these people come by me, and they're going, he's coming. Come with us. And I'm going, who's he? I'm thinking, he. I went up to the top of a hill, and suddenly we're in a circle, and Jesus begins to descend in the middle of us, and he's faced that way. And it's like, okay, I want to see his face. I want to see his face. And he's looking at everybody individually. And in my brain, because I think of all the crap that I've done in my life, I'm just convinced he's going to come around, he's going to look at me and go, what are you doing here? Oh, I really did. I said, well, you're not supposed to be here. You know, so I'm waiting for this, and he gets about halfway around, and I see his cheeks are up, and he looks angry. And I'm like, no, there's nothing worse than an angry Jesus. And as he gets around, I realize he's not angry. He's smiling bigger than anyone I've ever seen smile. And as he turns to me, he looks at me, and he says to me, without speaking, but he says to my brain, I love you with a wild love. Now, I've gone from being the wild kid to now I'm way over here, little staunch conservative boy, going to Christian this and that. And in my mind, I said to myself, wild isn't good. And he said back to me, no, it is. I love you with a wild love. And I said to myself, how is that? Trying to come back at him.
Right.
And he said to me, it's wild because no one can tame my love for you. And I broke. And he ended up coming over, and he sat next to me, and he just embraced me and held me, put my head right on his chest so I could hear his heartbeat. And then he just began to kiss the top of my head and hold me. And I just wept and wept and wept and wept. And then suddenly I fell back in my living room with the bologna sandwich there. The time had gone by exactly how long I'd been gone. And I just went to my bedroom, and I went on my pillow, and I just wept into my pillow. And I soaked it in 20 minutes, so much so that when I put my hand on my mattress under my pillow, bubbles came up. I had soaked through my bed. And so 20 years of pain, I just call it a godly deliverance. He just delivered the pain out of my soul. And from that point on, I began to have compassion for my dad. I began to understand what he went through in prison. And I began to build a bridge on the other side of his bridge. And we met. Won't you dance with me, oh lover of my soul, to the song of all songs. Dance with me. I was in my living room in Kansas City. My youngest daughter, who is now in her late 20s, was 12 years old. And I was singing a song by David Roos called We Will Dance on the Streets That Are Golden. And she came down and started to sing harmony with me, and it was beautiful. And then she just upped and went to her room and left me. 5 minutes later, she came downstairs. She started to dance around the room with this little veil that hung in the air. And I was just watching her thinking, my daughter is dancing unashamed before her dad. So then I began to think, I'm dancing and singing this song about the streets that are golden. And I'm going to dance on streets with a billion other people. But as a father, all I want to see is one little girl dance. That's all. I don't want 2 people. I don't want 1 billion people. And then suddenly I feel God's heart speaking the same thing to me, which is, I love the multitudes, but I love it when one person says yes to dance with me. And the next thing I knew, 5 minutes later, the whole chorus of Dance With Me was written. A dance is not just, you can say it's a one moment of worship, but what I knew he was meaning was, let me lead. Life is a dance. Let me lead. And sometimes when one person's leading, the other person's going backwards, or they think they are. And when you say yes to me, you don't have to worry about where we're going. I'll always lead you in the right way. Even if you feel you're going backwards, sometimes you never are when I'm leading you. Everyone's led by something. They're led by the tyranny of the moment. They're led by a boss. They're led by something. It's being able to see that God controls it all. And it's the ability to rest and to find the wisdom and the whispers of the momentary wisdom that God gives throughout the day. It's an entire heart thing. It really is. To let God lead is to let him be God, you be human, and then trust that he's going to lead well.
Song of all songs.